We have come to Monaco, the jewel in the crown of the Formula One calendar, to explore this historic circuit and see just how different it is on a normal day. Very quickly, before going down into Saint-Devote, the first corner, I've noticed that we're actually at the pit lane exit as well. The start-finish line is pretty much where the pit exits as well, and you are pretty much ejected right onto the track here. There's usually signage literally here that will tell an oncoming driver who is on their flying lap if there is a driver coming out the pit lane, so they don't just run into each other, because look, there's barely any room over there. As you can see with the camera right now, we are so close to the actual track. There is barely any room for like marshals, etc. So it's just incredible being here and on this incredible track. Like, damn, let's go to turn one.
And this is where a lot of the action happens. We might see a few collisions when we're here.
It's one of like the only two places you can really overtake, here and out of the tunnel. Those are the only two places you can really go for it. And you have 20 cars all crammed in at the opening lap, throwing it into this corner. And it's very interesting to see there's a bus behind me at the moment, but when the bus gets out of the way, then the roundabout's on here still, and you've got other bits of road separation. And as you can see, it's not very permanent. It's made out of plastic, so it's very easy to lift off, remove, and then the circuit's ready to go, because this is what we're standing on right now is the runoff area. This is the exit of Saint-Devote corner, no heroics into Saint-Devote. And as you can see, looking up that way, there is no room at all between the track, because the barrier is here. Where I am on the white line right now, this is where the barrier will be. Like this one is probably the steepest incline. I mean, if you're a Formula One driver, you're getting right up close to this barrier, and you're literally here on the floor, staring up into the sky, and then you've got a bit of wall that's pretty much there. So it is literally the driver's skill that's on show around a circuit like this is just incredible.
How was that race for you?
I have binned it into turn one.
Straight away out in the first corner. Are you going to bring it back in the next race?
Probably not. Let's be honest. I'm probably going to crash it. Oh my God, Amber, that was a steep climb. That was a lot steeper than I imagined it to be. I mean, you watch it on TV and you know it's going uphill, but you don't expect it to be that steep. And now we've made our way to what is a very tricky section of the track. This is turn 3, this is Massenet, and you're just kind of like throwing the car through a double apex corner before you head into the casino section. And if you get it wrong, there is a barrier on the outside that's very easy just to get the car out onto the dirty stuff, into the marbles.
Yeah, I think it's that like elevation change that makes it a lot harder for the cars coming through these corners.
We're weird people, okay? We see curves and it makes us excited. These will stay here. And again, the barrier is right up until this little bit here is to the other curb on the opposite side. There's not much room.
Is it sad that we get so excited by curbs?
It is a little bit.
It's just a typical Formula One fan thing.
Well, off to the casino next. We'll put money on red or black?
Black.
Okay, let's go.
We've now made it to turn 4, which is not only stunning because it's got the beautiful casino behind us, and it is named Casino for that reason, but it's one of those corners where you need that smooth and clean exit, because it's going to set you up for the hairpin, the very tricky and technical hairpin that is coming afterwards. So again, I'm saying like all of it is my favourite part of the track. I love turn 1, now I love casino, but it's true.
It is a joy. I've driven around this track over 1,000 times on the F1 game, and coming through this section, and this is pretty much where the camera is actually stood when you're watching on race day, and the car will worm its way through there, and then it heads down into Mirabeau down there, and there's actually, I can spot the bump in which F1 cars actually avoid, so let's head down there. As I was mentioning, there's a bump just there, and that's where the road separates on a normal day, but the F1 drivers actually have to drive around it because they will bottom out over the bump and lose so much time. And if we have a look, so you can't really see at the moment, but you get down low to the floor, and it is enough of a gradient there to really unsettle the car and just lose you heaps of time. Nice cars. Yeah, he knew the camera was out.
We're coming up now to that tricky and technical hairpin, but currently I'm at turn 5. And if you remember, in 2014, this is where we saw the rivalry between Hamilton and Rosberg begin. The runoff area is just here, and we see a lot of drivers go into that runoff area because if you're not taking that exit correctly and coming round entry and exit off that corner, you are going to go into that runoff area. And turn 6, which is behind us, is one of my favourites, which I know I say this quite a lot throughout this whole video, but it is one of my favourites. What's Hayden up to?
Hello, DHL. I'm on the inside of the corner and we're gonna get down low again because I'm really nerdy about stuff like this. And the camera's gonna try and help work it out, but there's like a divot where the curb meets the tarmac, and right there on the inside of Mirabeau, that's where the driver will want to get his right-hand side tyres inside this little divot. That's gonna suck in the car and help him carry as much speed through the corner down into the hairpin. We're heading down to the hairpin now, and I've just seen this shot right now, where imagine you're a marshal at this circuit. I think this is the prime location to sit and watch the race from. You're gonna watch them fly through Mirabeau, head down into the hairpin, and then you can lean over this massive drop to watch them just go through, then down into Portier. And I think this is probably, yeah, one of the best spots to, as a marshal, to watch Formula One. It's absolutely incredible.
We've now made it to turn 6, which is that tricky and super technical hairpin. You see the cars come down the hill and go round this, and some of overtaking opportunities do happen here. Because it's so tight, you have to be a very brave driver to attempt it round here. It might not be super successful. Right.
Show us how to, hang on a minute, how come you get to go in the F1 car and I've been put on handbag duty? You're like racing driver height.
Exactly, I'm perfect.
So you should fit fine, but you've got to get your legs in, come on.
Okay, it's a little bit of a squeeze.
I'm not fitting in there. You want to kind of go in legs first, and not bend your legs.
Sorry,
But
he just made that look so elegant.
I don't know, hang on, let's get that foot
Maybe
in.
not.
I
But
can't get my hips in. I'm not in the seat,
No.
I'm on the seat.
It's so tight that my hip bones were literally like...
Look, if
pulling.
I become a Formula One driver anytime soon, there's no air intake going into here. I've blocked that. Okay. Ta-da.
We've now made it to the famous tunnel. The thing is, Hayden, my dad used to tell me a lot about this tunnel. He's like, when you go to Monaco, you don't actually realise how long it is.
Yeah.
When you're watching the F1 cars go through, it's
It's like 5 seconds,
straight
5 to
through.
10 seconds through
And he
here.
was like, you know, you're driving through it or you're walking through it like we
yeah.
are now. And it's a lot longer than you think,
Yeah.
but it's just crazy to actually be here.
It's only F1 track to have a tunnel on,
Yeah.
apart from maybe if you count the Abu Dhabi pit lane exit, but who's really counted that?
Yeah.
I remember a crash between Juan Pablo Montoya and Michael Schumacher, where one of them was slowing down under the safety car, and because you've got the differentiating in light, it was slightly dark, unseen, bam, straight into each other, and
Yeah.
race done. So we've come out of the tunnel, we're heading down into the Nouvelle chicane. This is probably one of only 2 overtaking spots around Monaco. You can send it anywhere by surprising another driver, but usually you end up into them or in the barrier, whereas this one, if you're going to overtake, you're probably going to do it here.
This is, I'm not going to say it,
Is it another favourite part of the track
corners.
for you? I think that says a lot about Monaco. Like, there's a lot of parts that's your favourite part, because again, same for me. It is an iconic circuit, it's a historic circuit, and I know there's always that debate between people of like, should it be on the calendar, shouldn't? I think people see it in a wrong way. I don't look at this track as like, I want to watch loads of overtakes. I want to see drivers push to the limits, right up against the barriers, and see their talent on show, and you're not going to get a better track than here to do it. Right, let's head down into Sector 3, which is probably one of the toughest sectors of the track, and let's see what's down there.
We made it to the Nouvelle chicane. There's no barriers here, as you can see, because there is no race on.
Yeah, right up over there. You can't really see it if we have a little look around with the cameraman here. You can't really tell that we're actually on a racetrack right now. It is just a marina. That's all you're sort of seeing at the moment. But this is the track. This here is indicated where the barriers will go in, so the drivers won't get as close at this section, but over there they get close to the barrier. What's been your favourite overtake of the Nouvelle chicane? We want to know. Let us know in the comment section below. Shall we head on Sector 3?
Let's go.
Let's go. Down here doesn't actually, when you're driving it in the game, and for drivers like, for me, driving it on a game is obviously a small amount compared to a real life driver who's actually in this situation. You've got the adrenaline, you've got the G-forces on the body, but it just seems so long here in what is, in reality, a burst of a few seconds. Best seat in the house, right here, if you're sitting up on a yacht. This is where you want to be watching the Grand Prix from if you have the money to do so. Did you know that to this day, Monaco still hires scuba divers for that exact moment? In case that happens, then there's a scuba diver team that are ready to jump in and help the driver out if that occasion happens.
If they fall into the water.
If the car somehow ends up in there, because we've seen it at points we don't want to see, but we've seen cars go airborne. and you never know what could happen. You've got to be there prepared for any scenario. We've heard which part is Amber's favourite part of the track. It's every single corner, but for me, this is my favourite part of the track because you're high speed, out of to back, into the swimming pool. It's a corner that you look at and you think, this shouldn't be flat out. This should not be foot to the ground. This is a lift, this is a break or something like that. No, your foot is planted to the floor, heading through. It's a fast left, then a fast right. You come into it and the car is just getting literally here. You're getting close up to the barrier at this point, going past the swimming pool, which is there, and then you're heading down into swimming pool 2, which is again another fast right left. Not as fast as this one, you do have to hit the brakes, but this corner is just, it's iconic. Come out of the exit of the swimming pool 2 now, and you're heading into this corner, which is maybe people that live around here is not their favourite corner because Charles Leclerc 2021, sadly, in qualifying, put it in the wall. It did help him win the pole position, but unfortunately damaged the gearbox so much that it was pretty much race over on the formation lap for him.
It's game over if you just make that tiny little mistake. But are we going to see Charles win a
Fingers
race?
crossed.
Do you
Fingers
think
crossed.
so?
It's got to happen. It's surely around here. It's got to happen.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. Right, should we move over to a different corner, which actually isn't my favourite before you say anything?
Oh, wow.
It's not my favourite. Should we head over?
It is her favourite. Let's go.
It's not.
It is. It is.
It's not my favourite.
They're all your favourite.
Turn 17, which is Le Racetrack, a bit of an infamous corner as well because Michael Schumacher did something a little bit cheeky here where he just went off into the wall and then remained in that pole position. Unfortunately, people kind of knew what he was doing, so obviously that got disqualified in the end.
We're a weird bunch as Formula One fans because you've come here to just this city that for most people would just be an ordinary day, but for us, that excitement of coming to a Grand Prix circuit, even when it's not on a normal day of a Grand Prix. I think myself, I'm a privileged person to have gone to about 5 races in my lifetime. There's many people watching at home right now that haven't even been to one. So even for me to come here, after being to actual racetracks and watching the cars in real life, to come here, it's still just such a thrill to be here. And that's why I think that we're just so weird, because you wouldn't see that in football, you wouldn't see it in rugby or hockey or other sports, but in Formula One, you come to a place like this just on a normal day, and it's just such an exciting place to be around.
Hayden shedding a tear. The sun has set.
Yeah.
How beautiful is the scenery at the minute?
I think what we should do is we'll see you on the next video. Make sure you subscribe. Let's go get some dinner.
Yes, hungry and sangria or wine.
Bye everyone.